My name is Kampala Tays-Rantifer. I'm on the executive board of the Oakland Education Association. And I want to say that this is in response to both the Brookfield colocation, but also the letter that you guys wrote. So I want to say that I support Francophone's effort to find a private location for their expansion needs next year. Howard Elementary School families and the Oakland Education Association made an attempt to appeal to Francophone families and as parents around the impact that Prop 39 has on Oakland public school students. We thought that it was possible that you didn't really know the impact that it had on mostly Black and Brown students. Despite our very welcoming efforts to coordinate, initiated by OEA, Francophone's new leadership pressed on. You aren't operating in a vacuum. Oakland is connected. Brookfield knew what was happening at Howard, despite the fact that you characterize yourself as good neighbors. Howard Elementary parents and teachers adamantly and publicly disagree. You continue to dismiss the impact your presence had on their school community and the education of their students. Despite a very warm community-based approach, you responded with, "It's the law." The excuse that Prop 39 is the law allows Francophone to avoid the reality that their presence adversely impacts the education of Black and Brown families. I want to remind you that slavery was legislated and that there were Jim Crow laws. You have to take personal responsibility to ensure that despite policy, your actions are just and fair. The Brookfield community is advocating for themselves. They have engaged in some phone banking and letter writing to public officials. Your characterization of their advocacy as bullying is disgusting. When Black and Brown families use free speech against oppression that they're experiencing, you characterize it as intimidation. When we speak, you get scared. Francophone, you are behaving like the barbecue Becky of charter schools. Let's define aggression and intimidation. Taking space from other students already using it. Forcing kids into closets to make space for your expansion needs. Ignoring the repeated pleas of our community to ensure you have what you need. You are the bully. What we are doing is holding you accountable and shedding a light on your behavior. Your board members are public officials if you claim to be a public school. They may have to hear opposing opinions. We are not directing our advocacy towards charter school families or students. We know how many charter school families return to public schools. In fact, I had the pleasure of teaching 2 former Francophone students who are residents of Deep East Oakland who came to me severely behind grade level. Oh no, we are not directing it at your families because your students will someday be our students once again. We are talking to the new leaders who are making decisions for this school. We have the right to object without being characterized as somehow violent. Please, if you can't handle the phone calls you've received from our community, think about how you'll feel when you have to come face to face with our objections in person. Our families are passionate about their schools and don't deserve to have their advocacy reduced to aggression. Take our concerns seriously. Please find a private location for your school next year.
All right, my name's Corin Haskell. I'm a teacher from Brookfield Elementary School. I've been teaching there for 24 years, so I know the school and the community and everything inside and out. I've seen a lot in my time there. I'm not sure that the Francophone community really knows much about the Brookfield community that you're coming into and why there is such a aggressive pushback. It is because this school has really been in the community since the 1940s. It's all that some of the families have. It's connected to the senior center, the rec center, the library, surrounding businesses. I mean, we've been there forever. And when you come in and displace us without any connection to the community at all, any outreach at all, any notification at all, any collaboration with the teachers or staff at all, it looks like a colonization of a school, for lack of a better term.
I was really appalled to see the letter today, as if families telling you that they don't agree to something that they were never asked, which was to have another school community take their space. The fact that you wrote in the letter that you have a good relationship with the Howard principal is ridiculous. She spent the entire first year and a half of the Francophone occupation of Howard emailing the Francophone principal about very critical day-to-day issues and getting absolutely no response. That was the first year. And then the second year, when we made it clear that we didn't want you at our school, all of a sudden there's this shock and horror, as if the politeness that was extended to you was because people didn't have a problem with you being there. Actually, you were treated very, very well, considering the fact that no one at Howard wanted you there and that you were in the way. You've been in the way for 2 years. So please don't pretend like there's a relationship there that's mutual. It's not mutual. It was polite. And I think that some people in the Howard community are regretting that politeness.